right, hi everyone. Welcome. My name is Meg, and today I will be guiding you through a rest and digest yin practice. So, this practice is going to target the tissues between your low pelvic floor and your upper rib cage, working to release tension from your abdomen and to encourage a shift in your nervous system to more of a rest and regenerate or rest and digest state. So, with our yin practice, we're looking to seek a mild to medium amount of sensation. We don't want it to be sort of pushing so much into your edge that your body braces or it's hard to breathe in an easeful way. So, just mild to medium sensation. And we're looking also to come into relative stillness. And by relative, I mean that, of course, if you need to shift away from any kind of intensity that is bordering on pain, so sharpness, burning, pinching, electrical, and kind of nerve-like in nature, of course, move your body. That's really important. You never ever want to suffer through unnecessary pain. As well, you may find that after some time in these particular forms, your body starts to soften, and that mild to medium amount of sensation you initially experienced becomes, softer and softer and softer. And so you may wish to move your body in such a way as to increase the amount of sensation you experience. And then finally, we hold for time. So our hold times during this practice will vary from 3 to 6 minutes. And know that, of course, you're always in control, right? You have autonomy over your practice, over your body, and if you need to come out sooner, then honor that. If you need to stay a little longer, you can pause this video and honor that. It's all good. Okay, let's get started. I have, for my props, I have a bolster and I have a couple of different size blocks, and then I have a folded up blanket. So probably you're practicing at home, which is great because everything can be a prop. So you can grab, rolled up towels, blankets, cushions, pillows. Maybe you have like an old set of encyclopedias kicking around and like finally they have a use. You can use them as props. Okay, so to begin, I will invite you just to come onto your back. So just letting yourself kind of snuggle down, nestle in. You might rock your hips a little bit side to side. You can shift around your shoulder blades, making sure they feel connected to the ground. And then you can either rest your legs in tripod, so that's feet wide, knees together, or you might just come into a Shavasana shape with your legs long. Good. And then we'll begin just with a little bit of conscious breathing. So wherever you are, take your hands and let them rest either into your belly or maybe even up around your rib cage. And so here, just starting to notice any movement that's created in your body by your breath. And what's really beautiful about this is it's not something you need to think about. This little movement happens automatically with every cycle of breath. And for some people, it's going to be very obvious, the movement. And for others, it might be very subtle, almost imperceptible. It really helps to kind of turn your vision inward, starting to check in with your inner landscape, essentially how it feels to be in your body as you breathe in a way that's comfortable, and as you feel the movement of your body with your hands. You might notice that everything starts to slow down a little. There could be a spontaneous sigh or even a yawn, a little watering of the eyes or a gurgle of your belly. All signs that your system is beginning to slow down. If you would like to add in additional intention, another layer, so to speak, you can begin to breathe more deeply and exhale more fully and with added length. So as you breathe in, you might notice that your belly or your rib cage expands outwards in all directions. And then as you exhale, inviting a little more of your body and your being to rest and be supported by the ground beneath you. So when we take time to slow down and breathe deeply with intention, there's a couple of things that are, well, there's lots of things that are happening, but a couple I'll mention. So in your lungs, you have the little alveoli, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, the little air sacs. And within those air sacs are stretch receptors. And so when you breathe really big and full, those stretch receptors signal to your nervous system that you're safe and that it's okay to be in that restful, regenerative state. Place where your energies can flow back inwards and nourish your internal organs, your tissues, your bones. And then as well, you're stimulating your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerve makes up pretty much your parasympathetic nervous system. So again, that rest and regenerative part of your nervous system. And this nerve starts in your brainstem and kind of wanders down through your body, innervating all of your organs, particularly subdiaphragmatic through your gut. So that's why you might start to notice some little belly gurgles. You might feel a little bit hungry as the system begins to rest. And just take maybe a few more cycles of breath, and you can be playful here, curious about kind of the edges of your breath. And together, let's take a breath in, nice and deep. Let your exhale be effortless. Sigh out. Good. And then if you have your prop handy, you can grab whatever it is. Maybe you have a bolster or a pillow. Place it next to your hip. And then bring the soles of your feet to the floor. Lift your pelvis and slide your prop underneath the back of your hips. So you might need to adjust a little bit to find that really comfortable place. There shouldn't be a lot of compression through your lower back. This should feel pretty stable and comfortable. If it doesn't, you can try sliding your prop further down towards your tailbone, or you might just need a more narrow prop. Good. So take a moment here, feel the weight of your pelvis. Feel the flat bone of your sacrum. Rest between your lumbar spine and your tailbone, makes up the back of your pelvis. So feel that area really stable and supported by your prop. You're welcome to keep your hands on your body if that feels all right. You can stay with the motion of your breath. Or if you'd like a little bit more of a stretch, you could try taking your arms up overhead and letting the backs of your hands rest into the ground. Or if you need an added support, you could place a pillow over your head so that your arms are a little bit elevated. Good. And so I will be keeping time. You don't need to worry about that. All you need to do is breathe fully, comfortably, sending messages to your brain and the rest of your body that you're safe, that it's safe to slow down and be still. To let any tension that has accumulated through your center, through your abdomen, up into your rib cage, that can start to soften and maybe even melt away. Let the back of your heart and the back of your head rest heavy and soft. You might part your teeth and your lips slightly. Feel your eyes heavy in their sockets, drawing back and down. For some, this may feel like the most sustainable form. For some, it might feel really nice to take either one leg long or maybe both legs long. If you take both your legs long and it feels like your lower back starts to get kind of crunchy or feels a bit pinched, some bodies are designed to be in that shape. So you can just bring your feet back to the floor, come back into your rest. Explore the depth of your breath. Explore creating space in your body from the inside out as you breathe. If you have your legs long, slide your feet back to the floor, and then with arms overhead, start to draw them down. For a supine dragon, which gives us access to length and compression in the front of the hips, draw your left knee in towards you. So here, fingers can lace either around the back of your thigh or perhaps the front of your shin. Either is perfect. And then begin to gently squeeze your knee towards your chest, or at an angle out towards your shoulder. That's particularly helpful if you get some pinching through your hip. And then if you like, start to slide your right leg long. Let your heel rest heavy, or sometimes your heel will float. Again, both are fine. And just for about a minute, we'll work with very soft movement and breath. As you breathe in, feel your belly expand. Maybe your left thigh presses a little away from your body. And then as you exhale and create space in your abdomen, squeeze your thigh gently back down. Good. Breathe in, expand, release effort. Exhale, draw in. Good. A few more breaths like that. As you're gently working the tissues, your organs through the left side of your body, you're also providing a wonderful stretch for the front of your right hip. Let's take 3 more breaths. Good. Slowly slide your right foot back to the floor. Release your left foot down. Just pause here for a moment to notice. What do you experience in terms of sensation? Maybe through your left hip, there might be a sense of flushing, of fluid returning to that area. It can be warm or cool. Might even feel a little tingly or sparkly. And then as you feel ready, gather your right knee in. Again, hands to the back of your thigh or your shin. You might even thread your fingers the opposite way. Breathe in deeply. As you exhale, very gentle squeeze. So knee can pull towards your right chest, or if that's a little pinchy, take your knee out to the right towards your shoulder. And then option to slide your left leg long. Good. And so as we breathe here, we find that little bit of movement, curious exploration of effort and ease. Breathe in, belly fills up, right thigh reaches away. Breathe out, belly falls, thigh squeezes down. Good. Move at your own pace. Find the flow of your breath. We'll find 3 more cycles of breath and movement. Good. Slowly return the sole of your left foot to the floor. Release your right foot down. Pause here And just notice, what do you feel? Where do you feel it? When you feel complete here, press your heels down into your mat, activate your glutes, your buttocks muscles, and then lift just enough so that you can slide that block or prop out from underneath you. Soften your hips back down. Pause either in tripod with feet wide, knees together, or take your legs long. Find Shavasana. Option to close your eyes or just keep your gaze soft and feel your hips, feel your pelvis. Feel the magnificent weight of your body resting heavy. Alright, slide your feet back to the floor and we'll shift into a reclined twist. So you might want to have your support here. So start by shifting your hips a little towards the left side of your mat. So the whole kind of bandwidth of your hips moves over maybe 3 or 4 inches. If you like, you can draw your knees a little closer towards your belly and then slowly let your legs rotate to the right. So here you can have your prop so that your legs have something to rest into. Particularly helpful to let your left shoulder rest into the earth. Having your legs a bit lifted will facilitate that. If you feel like you don't really need your prop, you can just take it out, put it off to the side, and let your legs come all the way down to the floor. Good. You might sneak your right shoulder blade a little more to the right. And if your left shoulder is lifted up quite high off the floor and that feels uncomfortable, you can just place something underneath there. The corner of a blanket or a pillow. Your hands can rest perhaps on your body if that feels good. You could take your arms wide and offer a little space and breath into your chest. And only if it feels all right for your neck, you can let your gaze start to drop in the opposite direction. So if your knees are over to the right, your gaze would shift gently to the left. But if that doesn't feel good, then just take your gaze back up towards the ceiling, or even in the same direction as your knees can feel really nice. Slow, deep breath. In this twist, you are offering a little bit of compression for your abdominal organs. Breathing deeply can help to sort of give you a bit of an internal massage. And of course, you're also twisting passively through your spine. And know that at any point, if you feel like you want to explore a different variation, probably with more sensation, Twisted Roots is available. For Twisted Roots, you'll cross your top leg up and around your bottom leg, and then allow your legs to fall heavy. Honor any feedback from your body. If this feels like a little too much to breathe into and rest into, just come back to knees stacked. It's all good. One is not better than the other, they're just different. Breathe slowly and deeply. And just notice what that's like. How is it to be in your expression of twist, breathing intentionally, noticing sensation? And together we'll take one last deep breath in. Feel your ribcage expand, your belly lift. And then let that go long and smooth. If you're in twisted roots, you're welcome to uncross your legs first. Bring your knees back to stack. You might take your right hand under your thigh and just offer a little support as you lift your legs up. Slowly shift your hips back to maybe the middle of your mat, somewhere that feels neutral, and then pause here. Just pause and feel. What do you notice? Where do you notice it? When you're complete with this, you'll shift your hips towards the right. So you can lift them, slide them over. Option to draw your knees in a little closer to your belly, and then start to take them over to the left. So again here, your hips can, or your legs can land on a prop. You could tuck something under your right shoulder. You can have your gaze in either direction. Wherever you land, whatever expression you land in, let it feel sustainable. You can hold this for several minutes. You can breathe in a way that's free and intentional. You can soften. And you might notice some of those belly gurgles here as you breathe towards your belly, as you breathe into your ribs. These lovely belly gurgles, digestion coming online, peristalsis coming online as your system shifts into rest, restoration. And just check in with sensation. So through your rib cage, through your spine, through your belly. Remember that you have choice in everything you do, and if it would feel better for you to stay in this shape where you are now, then honor that. It's perfect. A second option is twisted roots. Cross your right leg up and over your left. Legs fall heavily back towards the floor. And again, we settle in. We find stillness. In the stillness and quiet of this practice, often the mind can get hooked into distractions. So just take a moment and notice where you are. Lovingly and compassionately invite your attention back to rest in the sensations of your body, the flow of your breath. We'll take one last breath in. Long, effortless sigh out. Gaze returns to neutral, so up towards the ceiling. Legs can uncross. Left hand under your left thigh as you invite your legs back up. Shift your body, your hips to what feels neutral. And then rest here, tripod or legs long, somewhere that's neutral to experience the rebound. The rebound is that sensation of fluids, blood, energy, lymph flowing back into the areas that we just targeted, hydrating, nourishing, enlivening. And then if you like, it might feel good to rock your knees a little bit side to side, or you can always hug your knees in towards your belly, give yourself a little bit of a loving squeeze, some movement. And eventually roll yourself over to one side, and then press yourself up, come to hands and knees. And so now that you're here on hands and knees, think about how it would be if this was the first time you were inhabiting a human body and you were exploring some gentle movement, feeling into areas that could use a little bit of a stretch or a little compression, maybe offering a breath or two into particular areas that could benefit. So this movement is intuitive, it is body-led as opposed to ego-driven. just a couple more breaths to move in any way. Good. And then you can come to sit on your heels or block if that would feel better for your knees and ankles. We'll be heading into a variation of child's pose that's going to offer some compression for your belly. And so the idea behind compressing through belly and breathing into that is again to sort of bring some hydration, some fluidity and movement to the connective tissues that run around and through your organs. You might wish to have a folded up blanket or a block to support your forehead. And there's three different sort of depths of compression that I'll offer for your exploration. So one is just to have your belly resting into your thighs. So you curl forward, belly into thighs, forehead into your prop. This might be just what you need. A second is to bring your hands flat onto your belly like so, and then again fold forward. So added compression of hands into belly, breath into belly. And then the third, which is quite a bit of compression, is to make loose fists, place those onto your belly, and then with this one, just sort of gingerly folding forward. If you have any tummy sensitivities, then this one might not be for you. But if you're giving it a try, just be really gentle. You can even shift your weight a little bit from side to side. And then you'll move into that relative stillness. So if there comes a point where you need to remove your hands, then do. It's all good. If you need to take a little bit of space between your knees and let your belly rest, that's okay too. So we'll just be here for 3 minutes, not a super, super long hold. Let your breath move in a way that feels okay for you. With this compression, it's probably going to feel more challenging to take those deeper belly breaths. So just breathe in a way that feels sustainable, where you can feel that little bit of movement deeper within the density of your body, your organs. But again, there's never pain, there's never sharpness, there's never pinching. If anything starts to feel like an electric tingle, then that's a sign for you to ease off. We are in our final minute here. Remember, you can remove your hands at any point or separate your knees at any point. Or stay here with me and we'll take our last few breaths. if you have your hands on your belly, just slowly lift up enough to slide them out. Bring your hands to the floor and lift your chest. Good. And then take your knees wide. Let your hips sink back towards your heels, and you can even rock a little bit from side to side, just sort of massaging your hip sockets, moving the femur heads. And then after that compression, this is where we get to breathe the belly into space and let it be really full and soft. So, of course, you're welcome to have something underneath your chest as you come down. Start by shifting onto your forearms, and then you're welcome to slide your arms forward, letting your forehead rest into the ground, or you can stack your forearms like so and rest your forehead there. But we'll just be here for a little bit of time, and here notice if it feels a little bit maybe easier or more free to take those bigger belly breaths. With each breath in, you might notice your belly and your rib cage expanding outwards, gently grazing the inner line of your thighs. Give yourself permission here to take up space, to breathe your belly soft and full. Very gently, you can begin to shift yourself forward, coming to forearms and then up onto hands. And take your knees, lift them, place them underneath your hips, and then you're welcome to move a little bit here. So perhaps stretching one leg back at a time, you can tuck your toes under, press out through your heel, or if it would feel good for you to tuck your toes and lift into downward dog, you can do this and take a little bit of gentle movement, kind of dance it out. Right, and then lower back down to your knees. Sit over onto one hip and bring your legs out long in front of you. We'll be setting up here for caterpillar, which is a passive forward fold. Sometimes it can feel like we're rounding back and we're being pulled backwards, which is not the most comfortable place for the body to be. So you may wish to sit up onto a blanket, or if you have like a foam block, one of those encyclopedias, you can sit up onto the edge. And the stretch in this is going to target the back line of your legs and your lower back, and then as well moving into some gentle compression through your belly. As you fold forward, if that stretch or any tightness starts to show up around the backs of your knees, then you'll take your blanket, your towel, place it underneath your knees so that they can stay bent and supported, and that should bring that stretch back up into kind of the backs of your thighs where we want it to be. Good. And then of course, depending on how far forward you fold, you might have your cushions, your props. You can place your elbows here and support your head like so. If you fold forward quite far, you could place something underneath your forehead. Just make sure that, again, you feel supported, you feel like this is sustainable, you can hang out here for some time. So just as you're ready, folding gently forward, noticing feedback, sensational on the backs of your legs, around your lower and mid back. And then there is this sort of natural pause, this resistance that we come up against. The body doesn't want to go any further. And so instead of grabbing legs or feet and kind of forcing ourselves down, we're yielding. We're yielding into that pause. We're staying here and breathing our body soft. You might even place your palms up on your legs or the floor, just as an offering of surrender of ego, surrendering of needing to accomplish. All we want to do here is feel sensation and breathe. Can you breathe a sense of fullness around your belly, your rib cage, feeling 360 degrees of expansion and new space. And if the body has begun to soften, you might move your prop down to another level or take something away. And then once again, yield into this new edge. We'll dive into our last rounds of breath. Notice any sensations associated with your inhale and any sensations associated with your exhale. One last breath in, long breath out. So just draw your navel in gently, a little support for your spine, hands to the mat or your legs as you start to round back up slowly as you need to. Pause at the top, let your shoulders draw down. Notice what you feel, where you feel it. Good, and then shift your props just off to the side. And once again, come on over to hands and knees. And then from here, tuck your toes under and just step into a really easy, gentle downward dog. So a little movement here if that would feel good. And then take your feet about halfway towards your hands, knees really bent, hands back towards your feet, and heel toe your feet out to the edges of your mat or a little wider than hips or shoulders. And ankle your toes outward slightly as you lower your hips down into Malasana or Yogi Squat. So in some bodies, being here can create a lot of compression and even that like little pinchiness through the hip joints. So that's where you'll take whatever kind of sturdy prop you have and place it underneath your hips for more support. That's probably going to bring more ease around your hip joints. If you don't need that, great, you can leave it off to the side. So I quite like to take my elbows to my inner legs, hands together, and then as I slide my forearms down so they're more parallel with the ground, it guides my knees a little wider. So again, you can just sort of adjust here as you need to find your appropriate level of sensation, sustainable, fluid breath. And option to close your eyes if that feels okay. If not, keep them open, just soft. Good. Notice here if there is tightening through your buttocks muscles, or if maybe the low muscles of your pelvic floor are feeling engaged and lifted. And how would it be to just invite those tissues to soften, to release what's not necessary, that tension that gets accumulated over time? And with a slight lift and buoyancy around your chest, you might also feel the length of your spine. You might notice as your tailbone kind of drops down towards the earth, the crown of your head energetically lifts towards the sky. Allowing your spine to be long, little space in between each vertebra. Remember that you can gently straighten your legs, come into a forward fold at any time, or we'll move into our last few breaths. Slow breath in, long sigh out. Good, okay. Hands can come back down to the floor. Slowly begin to shift your weight forward so you can rise your hips up. Oh, maybe a little groan. And then heel to your feet back underneath your hips. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. Offer yourself a little fold, maybe a little wee bit of a shakeout. Sway side to side, whatever feels good. And then slowly bend your knees, take your hands to the floor, lower down to your shins. Come on over to one hip and then lie down onto your back. We'll head into Banana Asana to help soften and open up the sides of your ribs, the side of your waist. So to begin, just start to walk your feet over towards the right, so any amount at all. Good. And then if you like, take your arms up overhead. You can hold your left wrist with your right hand. And just begin to sort of snuggle your upper body and shoulders over to the right as well. So you make kind of this crescent, this banana shape with your body, and ideally accessing the outer line of your left side. And so we'll be here for just about 3 minutes. And at any point, if you find that your body really softens into this, you can always take your feet more to the right. You could cross your ankles. You could try both ankles, see what feels best. And as well, deepen your breath. Send your breath, feed it into the left side of your body, into your ribs, spaces between your ribs, the tissues through the side of your chest, down to your belly. Each exhale offering more of your body rest softness. Space for regenerative processes to unfold, to nourish your body. Breathe in and breathe out. Slowly begin to shift your weight back to a neutral form. Take your arms down if you'd like a little break. And shift around until you find that just right spot to drop into and rest. Notice what you feel through the sides of your body. And then when you feel ready, we'll shift into the other side. So feet begin to walk over to the left. Arms reach up. As you're ready, you can, again, snuggle a little more towards the left through your upper body. You can hold on to your right wrist with your left hand. And know that at any point, if it bothers your shoulders for your arms to be overhead like this, then you can bring your arms down. That's fine. Slow, full, intentional breaths into the right side of your body. Some may feel a sensation mainly around right hip and waist. Others might feel this through spine, lower back. And some may feel this from outer right ankle all the way up to right wrist. So just notice, what do you feel? What's true for you? Last deep breaths. Breathe in fully. Exhale sweetly. Begin to gently shift your weight back to neutral. Arms can come down. Pause and notice. And then we'll make our way into final rest. So you're welcome to rest on your back in Shavasana. If you choose this shape, it might feel really good to have something underneath the backs of your knees, underneath the backs of your thighs. So you could place, your cushion if you have your bolster there. If you want something, a little pillow for underneath your head or a blanket over top of your body, that too may feel really supportive and cozy. So take time to get yourself set up. And if lying on your back at any point doesn't feel all that restful, then try lying on your side or even over onto your belly. Snuggle yourself down. Feel all the points of connection between your body and the surface that supports you, and the earth below that. Welcome yourself just as you are, with the same loving presence that you would offer a best friend or a dear loved one, or a very wise teacher. Give yourself permission to simply be. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just you, a human being. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. You can wiggle and sparkle through your fingers and your toes. You might swirl through your wrists, your ankles. It might feel good to take a really big stretch, arms overhead, point your toes. Maybe hug your knees into your belly and rock a little bit, side to side. Eventually come on over to your side and press yourself up to move into a comfortable seat. And again, you can prop yourself up if you like. You can let your hands rest into your lap, soften your gaze, or close your eyes. Take a moment here to feel inward. Notice if there's a shift. Do you feel a little softer? Do you feel a bit more relaxed? Do you feel a little hungry or gurgly through your belly? I hope very much that this practice, this offering, has been able to nourish you, to nourish a state of rest, a state of being, without the need to do anything. If you like, gather your hands together in front of your heart, humble your chin down, and take a moment to acknowledge here the beauty and magic and wonder of you, of your body. And thank you so very much for coming to your mat, for participating in this practice. I hope it serves you very well this day and every day. Namaste.